Hey, everybody. I want to come and wish you a happy New Year's Eve. Today is the last day of the year 2023. I was out early this morning and I was having breakfast out on the patio and I was watching the bird feeder. And there was just a ton of finches, little bitty tiny birds all over everywhere, and they were eating in the feeder and they were taking a bath in the bird bath and they were just having a really good time. And then some doves came, a family of doves came, and it was just a plethora of birds everywhere. And they were eating from the feeder, the high feeder. And then all of a sudden, this ratty squirrel comes up and chases them all away. And they were scrounging around on the ground for seeds and nuts and sunflower seeds and things like that. And I got up and I chased the squirrel away, and he left, but the majority of the birds stayed low to the ground. They didn't go back up to the high feeding place, which was made for them. We poured the seeds for the birds. We put the water in the bath for the birds. We created this thing for the birds so that they would have food and they would have a place to play in the water and clean themselves and drink water and just have a wonderful time. It was created for them, made for them, laid out for them. And the enemy comes along and this bushy-tailed rat, which is a squirrel, and chased them all away. The enemy does that to us. God gave me this picture of the king's table. In Psalm 23, it says he prepares a table before us in the presence of our enemies. Oh, what a gift that God gives us, that he lays out this lavish table before us in the presence of our enemies. But it's up to us to remain at that table, to hear God calling us up higher. There was a young man named Mephibosheth in the Bible. He was Jonathan's son, and he was wounded at a very early age. His nanny dropped him on the ground and broke both of his feet. Through no fault of his own, he was unable to walk again for the rest of his life. And after Jonathan and his father Saul had died in the Great War, David asked, was there anyone left of Saul's family, or actually not Saul's family, Jonathan's family, that he could be kind to, because Jonathan was his best friend. He loved Jonathan. They did everything together. And someone said that he had kin left in Lo-debar, a young boy named Mephibosheth. But they said, you wouldn't want him. He has 2 broken feet. He's a beggar. He can't do anything. He's not someone you want to take care of. And King David said, go and get him and bring him here. Many of us have forgotten that we are seated at the king's table. We have been invited to sit at the king's table. And today, God is calling you up higher. He is sending someone to your Lo-debar to lift you up out of the place that you're in and remind you that he has created a life for you, a wonderful life full of blessings and love and mercy and grace. And he is calling you up higher, just like that bird bath was high and that feeder was high. He wants you to stop feeding off the ground. He does not want you to eat the scraps of his table. You are his child. You are his daughter. You are his son. And he is calling you up higher into his presence. You have been invited to the king's table, and he wants you to come sit with him. The Lord is calling you up higher. He wants you to come and spend time with him. He wants you to know that you are welcome at his table. And something that was very strongly reminded to me was that when Mephibosheth sat at the king's table, the table itself covered his feet, and no one knew what he had gone through. It appeared that he was sitting at the king's table, worthy all the time. The enemy wants us to think that we're not worthy to sit at the king's table. Yes, have we sinned? Absolutely. But if we have received Christ as our Savior, there is forgiveness. We have been forgiven. there is this blessing that is upon our life that cannot be broken. The enemy can't take it, he can't steal it, and he can't make it go away. He wants to, he tries to. Remember that he is the king of lies. But today, the Lord is calling us up higher. Come and sit at the king's table. Come and hear what he has to say to you. Come and lay your head on his shoulder like young John did with Jesus. Spend time in the presence of your Father, who is the King of the universe. Come up higher. Get up off the ground. Get up off your knees. Come and sit at the king's table that he has laid out especially for you. And everyone's table looks different. I love you all so very much. I pray that today you would be kind. You would share the love of Christ where you can. We never know what private battle someone's going through. You can't see behind closed doors. And sometimes we can't see behind the mask that people wear. And if you can, invite someone to the king's table. Invite them to come to know Christ so they can sit beside you and enjoy the blessings that the Lord has laid out for us. This year, this coming year, tomorrow, God is telling you he wants you to come up higher. He is inviting you up higher. Your time in Lo-debar is no more. You are now invited to the king's table. We've always been invited to the king's table, but he wants you to come and sit with him now. He's saying, leave the rest of the world behind. Come, sit with me. Spend time with me. If I could get you to hear his voice, leave the past behind. Leave everything that hurt you behind. Leave it all in the past. Leave it all behind you. And come forward. Rise up. Get off of the ground. Come and sit at the king's table. You are welcome. I love you. And I wish you all a grand, happy, blessed, and prosperous new year. And that your walk with Christ would grow stronger and deeper. And that you would know God in a more intimate way. That you would hear his voice. And that you would spend time with him and share his love with other people. I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful new year with your family. God bless, and I will talk to you in the new year.